Hi crafty friends, it's Kerry from Creative Crafts with Kel. I'm back today with another card making idea. So this was going to be the card that we're making today. I thought this was really sweet. I think that these little images could be used for so many things, and I'm going to show you what bits and pieces I have used on this card. We might even change it up a little bit just to see this or that, either or, which one you prefer. So for the background pieces, I have used the Full of Life designer series paper. It's a 6x6 designer series paper, and I just really liked it. It's got some lovely watercolor washes, some starbursts, some just random, but it's really bright, and I don't often sort of go towards brights on the whole, but I really liked this paper. I also did a Notting Hill Carnival scrapbook page with these, and it was fantastic. So yeah, this is the papers that I've used. My stamp sets that I've used, so for these, the sentiment, and for my little sea lions, I've used the Hearts and Hugs stamp set. You could use any of these gorgeous little ones. Actually, I think I've used all three of those, so I chose this one. I hadn't stamped it or coloured it, so I chose that one for this card. For the floral in the background, I used Love This Moment. Again, this is a stamp set that I go back to over and over again. This is great for scrapbooking, but not only scrapbooking, I go back to this floral stamp all the time. I've used this stamp and this stamp as backgrounds on cards as well. I just really like it. But yeah, so this is a definite staple in my stash. And then for the background circle, I used my Nested Essential. Is it Nested Essential? Am I making that up? Let's have a look. Stylish Shapes dies. I was making it up. So yeah, these are the Stylish Shapes. I've got a couple in there that I've already cut in other colours. I normally stick them in the back so that if I need something, I might have it already there. But yeah, so these are a staple as well. You've got squares, banners in different sizes, nested circles. Really good set. So what we need to get started is our white panel that we're going to be using for behind the designer series paper. And our white panel is, let's have a look, yeah, so that's going to be 10 centimeters by 14.4 centimeters, and that's going to be our panel that we're going to work on first. For our designer series paper, let's choose some. We don't need to choose the same, do we? So let's have a look what we might use. Take it out. So with this one, what I did was I used one piece of paper and used the gradient across. But potentially, I mean, you could use any papers, couldn't you? Let's have a look. Is that the same? Yeah, that's the paper that I used. I used this part of this paper. Just trying to think, because what I did when I chose these papers was I matched the colours to the colours of the stamping blends that I coloured on those flowers. So that's what my thought process is at the moment, is do I go similar and then keep those colours the same, or do I not? Do I go rogue? That is the question. I really like that. Maybe we use those and we can get some in the centre. So on the back of this paper, it tells us what colours they've used. So let's have a look. This would be Berry Burst. I'd say this would be Coastal Cabana, and this one would be Balmy Blue. That would be my guess. So we could go rogue, couldn't we? All right, yeah, we'll use this one. I like that idea. See, these are the colours I tend to fall towards all the time. That's why I'm sort of umming and ahhing. Will I stick to those colours or not? I don't know now. Can't make a decision. No, we'll go. We've got a this or that. So we've got a bright one and a more subdued one. So let's stick with that. Okay, that's one decision made. There's our background. So now I'm going to bring in my trimmer because we want to cut these down. So I'm going to do, I want the stripes going this way. So I'm going to cut it in length to 13.9. I'll keep this in case we want to use it on the inside of the card as well. And then I want 3 centimeter strips, so it'll end up being 3 centimeters by 13.9. And I think I want to start, I'll cut this bit off because I want a little bit of this. So let's go 3 centimeters. So we've got one there. And if we do another 3 centimeters, it's almost pure purple, but different variations. And then if I go another 3 centimeters, I've got a little of the blue in there as well. I quite like that. So I'll put that back in my DSP pack. So now we've got our background, and you can see how that's going to look. Okay, cute. Right, so we've got our background. Now we're going to do some stamping. So we will be using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I'm going to be using Stampin' Blend's alcohol markers. So this is the ink that you want with those. So because this is a large stamp, I'm going to put the stamp pad to the stamp rather than the other way around. And we will stamp that nicely. And there we have our sea lions. And then I would like to stamp our bunch of flowers as well. Okay, so we've got our bunch of flowers too. I'm sure I've already got messy hands, inky fingers on here, but we'll see how we go. So for these, I'm going to use, what did I use? I'm just going to grab my Stampin' Blends. I used Smoky Slate, light and dark. So we've used those, and I used some crumb cake. This one, oh no, we might use the colour lifter as well. And I used some dark petal pink, and I think I did use crumb cake though. Let's have a look. This is my little box full of bits and pieces. I've got some of them. That's light crumb cake, that might be good. Let's see if we've got the dark one to hand. That's dark crumb cake. So we've got Smoky Slate, light and dark. We have dark petal pink. We've got the colour lifter in case I need it, and we've got crumb cake, light and dark, for our sea lions. So let's work with those first. So I tend to use the thinner end rather than the brush tip, just because of I like to get into the intricate pieces. If I find it easier, but that's completely personal preference. This one is dark, so actually I might start with light instead of dark. That's what I tend to do, but again, there's no right or wrong. So I will colour this all in, leaving their little noses. And I just find with the bullet tip, it's just, I find it easier to control. I've got more range of movement with it. And you can see I'm not doing anything spectacular. I'm no expert at colouring with alcohol markers by any stretch. I just do what I think looks nice really to my eye, and you can do the same. You can use any alcohol markers to do this, but like I said, if you're using alcohol markers, you need to use Memento Tuxedo Black or a water-based ink pad to make sure that it works with the alcohol markers and it doesn't ruin your stamped image. So I'm just gonna colour this one in first, saturate the paper with that light, and we'll go in with the dark. And I sort of follow where I think shadows would be, but also they've got little lines here and there to tell you, and I sort of use those as a guide, and then sort of have a think where I think there would be some, if there's any extra, or where I would like some. And I think I'll put some just up here, and then we go back in with the light and we just blend that out a little. And you see I've gone over the edge there. That's where our colour lifter is going to come into play as well, because it will help us. I can get rid of that, as well as helping us blend the colours together. It can help lift additional colour if you've gone over the lines. And I'll show you that in just a moment, because that was bound to happen with me, especially if I'm doing a video. So you can just see that you're starting to build. I probably want a little bit dark under there too. I might go in dark underneath there. Alright, and we'll go in a little bit of dark again, just under here where I think there might be a bit of shading, and just blend that out. So now I'm going to grab the colour lifter. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but I've gone out of the lines a little bit there, and what you can do is just push it back, and when that dries, that'll be gone. So let's do our other sea lion. And oh, I've forgotten the first one's little foot here, but we can do that at the same time. So there we go. Just get some colour down and saturate the paper with the ink, because that would be what helps us blend it together. And sometimes moving the paper rather than moving your hand makes it easier to colour as well. But the other thing you could do is use any colouring medium. You could use watercolour pencils, normal pencils, felt tip pens. It really doesn't matter. I just really like the blends because I feel like it gives a bit more of a no line look. I feel with felt tip pens all of these lines become very visible, and that they blend out quite well with the Stampin' Blends. So let's go for a bit of shading up here and along there, along here, because she's tucked on behind this little guy. And then we'll do some along here. And then a little bit around here maybe. Like I said, there's no right or wrong way. I just do what I feel like and what I think would be right. I'll put a little bit back here. And then we blend that out with the light again. It just makes the lines look less harsh, but the shading is still there, which is nice. A little more 3D. And the more you go over, and even if it's the same colour, if I was to go over the same lines with light smoky slate, it will naturally get a little darker. So we've done our grey. I'm happy enough with that. I'm going to do the dark petal pink and do their little mouth down here and give it a little bit of a pop. And then I'm going to use the light crumb cake and we'll add a little bit of shading with the dark crumb cake, just there and there, I think, and then go back over that to get rid of those harsh lines. And then the only other thing that I did do is used the light basic black for the nose. There we go. Okay, so we've got our sea lions, and we are now going to look at our florals. Okay, so our florals are going to be different this time, because last time I went with the backs of the papers and they were different. So this time we definitely still have Berry Burst, so that's okay. What am I going to look for now? I think we need to look for some Coastal Cabana, or maybe some Pool Party and some Balmy Blue. So let's have a look. We've got Balmy Blue there. That's light Balmy Blue, so we've got those. And we don't have a Coastal Cabana pen, I don't think. Should we go a bit of Summer Splash maybe? Or do we just go straight to Pool Party? And that's light Pool Party. And that is dark Pool Party. So we'll use that, and I'll take out the Summer Splash just in case as well. And I'll leave the colour lifter out because I'm likely to make a mistake. So I think I will use Pool Party for the big flowers. So this is light Pool Party, and this won't take very long at all because they're quite small images. So there's our bigger flower, and then we'll want this flower too, and this one. Those are our main three big flowers. I'm going to come in with, ooh, every time I've been a bit rough with my Pool Party of late. and I keep breaking it. So I'm going to use the brush tip end because I'm just doing some highlights. This will be a bit darker there, and in the middle, around the back. Again, I'm sort of using the image to show me where I think the shadows would be, and then I'll just blend some of that out. I'm not going to go over it all completely because I want the light one layer to be on there as well. So just go over that a little. And then now the decision here is, do I go blue leaves, pink small flowers, or do I go pink leaves and blue small flowers? I don't know. Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there, really? What will we do? I think we will go the little flowers. What one is this, dark or light? Light. I'm only going to do it in light because I think that's dark enough, to be honest, seeing as the other colours are quite light. So I'm just going to go over these ones. There's no blending with these, they're really small images. Now both of these stamp sets don't have dies, so I am going to fussy cut these. But I don't really mind fussy cutting. If you don't want to, you could actually just stamp it onto a circle if you wanted to, or do it in a long, you don't need to do it this way, but I don't mind fussy cutting too much, so I did the fussy cutting. We'll go light balmy blue for our flowers because they don't have to be realistic, which is something that took me ages to get my head around when crafting. I felt it wasn't right to not have green leaves and things, whereas now I've got creative license. I let myself do these things. So if you're scared, just try it and see what you think. Sometimes you might surprise yourself. I find that I do. Now with these we are going to go in with a little bit of shading, but nothing too much. That's all of our blues. A little bit of dark along the veins. They mightn't even need blending out because these are quite close to each other. It's not too drastic. Yeah. And then a few dots at the bottom of these leaves just to show a little bit of dimension. I think that's all right. So I didn't even need the colour lifter. So my next, I'll give my hands a rest for a second and I'm going to stick these down. So what I tend to do is I get them in the way that I want, and obviously if you've cut them in a strip like me where you want the colours, you don't want the colours to be out of order, or maybe you do. But I'm going to stick them like this. So what I'm going to do is stick the first one with a small border around the edge. And that's this side. We'll go for the middle one. I normally do the outside first, I've just realised that, but we'll see. I've stuck it down lightly so that I can move it if need be. I've got a little bit of time to reposition. And this one, I just want them all to have a rough even border. and to be the same top and bottom, and they're not too bad. You see I've got a little bit of wiggle room still because I didn't stick it down properly, and we're good. So there's our background. So we've got that done. So now what we're going to do is fussy cut our images. So I'm just going to make that smaller and this smaller. Move that to one side. So for this one I find leaving a little border is really nice, and it's actually not too difficult because they're fairly simple, straightforward images to cut. So this one won't take us too long. The other one might take a little bit longer, but it'll be worth it in the end. And like I said, you don't actually have to. It was just a personal preference, and I wanted to pop them up off the page. And I'm moving my paper, not my scissors, so that it makes it easier for me to do the fussy cutting. And then we've got those, and now this one's a little bit more fiddly, but again I think if you move the paper and not your scissors, you'll find it's not too bad. But again, if you wanted to, you could use one big shape, stamp your image of your animal, stamp your florals next to it, or even another shape image where the florals are behind it, and then you don't need to fussy cut. So just use whatever stamp sets you've got with your animals, use whatever florals you've got. If you've got some dies, you could put floral dies behind there. I did look at that the other day, but I really like this image, so I decided to go for this image. But you could do anything, just use up what's in your stash. And this is a great way to go through some of your designer series paper, show it off. You could do it with scenery designer series paper. We've all got a stash as crafters of pattern paper, so let's get it used up. And I'm finding that I am using mine up a lot more now that I'm scrapbooking alongside card making. And I will be receiving my first scrapbook kit from Stampin' Up later this week, and I might be doing a video on that with you all as well, because I've only started scrapbooking recently, and I think it's a great idea to have kits for, you know, beginner scrapbookers. Even seasoned scrapbookers like to sometimes not have to work out exactly what they're doing and things like that. This is just a nice way to do it, and I've chosen the Halloween one because I've got so many photos of my kids over the years dressed up for Halloween, and we always enjoy Halloween as a family, so I'm definitely going to make the most out of that Halloween scrapbooking set. Now I can't remember what I did. I don't think I went in all the way on the other one because some of it will be covered up too, so you don't need to necessarily cut it all out, but I just couldn't remember which way I did it, so I just decided to do it this way. And there we go, done. Okay, so we've got our pieces and we've got our little floral, so that's quite cute, and we need our white circle and our sentiment. Now I wonder, I think I still might do our sentiment in Berry Burst, and for that I used a strip that I had in my strip jar, and I measured it. It's 1.5 centimeters, and I'm using the stamp that says sending birthday hugs, but any of these would be cool. I like the sending a big hug, and then you can do on the inside or further down so it's there when you need it. You know, any of those are quite nice. So let's get out the Berry Burst ink pad and see if I can stamp it straight. That will be a new revelation, wouldn't it? Right, sending this side. Okay. And trying to look without going in front of the camera. That's not bad. We'll take that. Okay. So we'll put that ink pad away. So we've now got that as well. Our next step we need to do is to get some card to cut out our stylish shape circle. So I'm going to grab a bit of card, and I did look at the bigger circle because I had one cut out and I didn't like it as much as the small, but let's have a look. I don't hate it. It's a bigger circle. We could do something different. I just thought the smaller space behind them. So let's cut out the smaller circle. So I think I went for the second largest circle. I really should just take them out. You could go for any of the shapes actually. You don't need it to be a circle at all. You could go for a square. Doesn't need to be a circle. We could do a square. Why not? Alright, we'll do a square. So I've got the second largest square. And we'll try that. Where did I put my card? There. Right. So I'm going to tack this down with a little bit of washi tape so that it doesn't move while I'm putting it through. I'm just putting it through my die cutting machine off to the side. Okay, so now there's that. Now we can see what we think of that. I like to have a little bit there, a little bit there. Should I have it? We're going to have that covered anyway. Yeah, I think I like that, you know. Okay, so we'll put our die back because I don't want to lose it, and knowing me I will. So I'm going to pop those back in there. Okay, and we're going to do some sticking down first. So I will glue this flat and I will go centre-ish and leave a small gap, and then I will want these popped up, I think. Yeah, and my little bunch behind them. So that's where I want my bunch. I'm just not going to move it much because I'll know where I want it. So let's double check. Yep, I'm happy with that. And we're going to put these on some Stampin' Dimensionals just to raise them up a little bit. And we will pop them, try to straighten it on my grid, just there. And now we've got our sending birthday hugs. So I lined that up with the white panel and I tucked it under our little, so I'm just sort of working out what length I want it, out there, and then I just did a flag which is cutting down the middle from the corner to the tip and from the other corner to the tip. Okay, and then I sometimes like to go over if I've got an edge just with my bone folder, because I don't like it to have an edge. And let's have a look what this looks like. I quite like it. Alright, so we'll stick that down. Okay. And we'll do that along to there. Cute. Okay, so now the last decision, second to last decision, is what colour card I use. So I'm going to choose one of these 3 colours. And also on the inside of our card, this is our inside panel, I might do just a strip along there, maybe, just to tie the papers, or tie the inside to the outside of the card. There we go. And then that's using up more of our designer series paper, because it's what we need to use. What we need to do is use it rather than sitting at it and staring at it. So we've got the inside and the outside of the card now. So we're looking for Balmy Blue, Coastal Cabana, maybe Pool Party, or Berry Burst. Now I have Berry Burst here because I was thinking of doing the exact same card. So let's have a look. Okay, what else do I have? Let's get some Pool Party just to see what it looks like. And we'll cut some of this. And that's just cut A4 card in half at 14.9. I'm not going to score it yet because I don't know if I'm going to use it as a card base. I really quite like that. But then I always tend to go towards the subtle colours. But do you know what? There's nothing wrong with going towards the colours that I like, is there? So I am going to now score this card base so that it's just easier to fold. So we now score on the long side at 10.5, and we get our bone folder. There we go, and we just burnish that across, and I do like it. Yeah, so we'll glue this on the front. And there we go, and we'll glue the inside. Is that straight? Yes, it is. And then we'll glue the inside on as well. Oops. And then you see these are the little cut lines you sometimes get from a trimmer. They're the ones I like to use the burnish for, the bone folder on, just to burnish those down. And there we've got our Sending Birthday Hugs card in different colours. So what did I do on the inside of this one? I didn't do anything on the inside of that one. But yeah, I'm tending to sway towards this, but that's because that's my normal colours. What do you think? Would you go this or that? Do you like the brights or the subtles? Let me know in the comments, and I will be back next week to make another card with you all. Take care. Bye bye.